Did you know Canada once had its muscle cars that Americans could only dream of? From exclusive badges to unique designs, these hidden marvels are the unsung heroes of automotive history. Number 12, 1969, Beaumont SD 396. First, let's talk about one of Canada's coolest muscle cars, the 1969 Beaumont SD 396. This beauty is essentially Canada's take on the Chevrolet Chevelle, but with its unique flair that American buyers couldn't get their hands on. First off, the design sets it apart. The Beaumont SD 396 shared its body with the Chevelle, but featured exclusive details like custom tail light housings and lenses that gave it a distinct look. The grille had a badge with a Pontiac-style arrowhead, except Beaumont added to the red maple leaves or a fleur-de-lis, giving it a uniquely Canadian touch. Even the full wheel covers and rally wheel caps were Beaumont-specific, though they might remind you of the Chevelle at first glance. Inside, the dashboard came straight from Pontiac's Tempest, Le Mans, or GTO models, adding a sporty and premium vibe. Buyers could opt for bucket seats and a center console, which were part of the Sport Deluxe SD trim, a direct parallel to the Chevelle SS trim. Under the hood, the SD 396 packed serious muscle. It came with a 396 cubic inch V8 engine, delivering 330 horsepower. This engine, shared with Chevelle models, gave the Beaumont plenty of power. Transmission options included 3- and 4-speed manuals, as well as 2-speed power glide and 3-speed turbo hydromatic automatics, allowing drivers to tailor their experience. While most Beaumonts came with smaller V8 engines or inline sixes for better fuel economy, the SD 396 was all about performance. It was rare too, with limited production numbers and many falling victim to Canada's harsh winters. That makes it even more desirable among collectors today. Whether it's the distinct design, exclusive badging, or the muscle under the hood, the 1969 Beaumont SD 396 is a true Canadian legend that left American buyers jealous. It's a car that proudly wears its maple leaf heritage while delivering all the power and style of a classic muscle machine. Number 11, 1967 Pontiac Parisienne 2+2. The 1967 Pontiac Parisienne is a perfect mix of American muscle car vibes and Canadian elegance. Built by General Motors in Canada, this car was tailored specifically for Canadian drivers, making it a rare gem that American buyers couldn't get their hands on. Its unique design, luxurious features, and strong performance make it a standout classic. Let's talk about its design. The Parisienne's long hood, sleek body curves, and bold grille give it a grand and powerful look. Add some chrome accents and stacked headlights, and you've got a car that oozes 1960s style. The interior was just as impressive, with plush seats, wood grain details, and plenty of room for passengers to relax. You could even add cool extras like an AM/FM radio or power-operated windows. Paint options range from classy shades to vibrant colors like regimental red and Tyrol blue. Moreover, this car came in several body styles, including a 2-door hardtop, convertible, and 4-door sedan. The hardtop, with its clean and uninterrupted roofline, was especially popular among buyers. Under the hood, the Parisienne didn't hold back. Engine choices range from a 6-cylinder to big V8s, including a 427 cubic inch beast. Horsepower varied from 155 to 185, and the car could reach top speeds between 120 and 130 miles per hour. Paired with manual or automatic transmissions, the Parisienne offered smooth rides and decent acceleration, going from 0 to 60 in about 10 seconds. But here's the kicker. The Parisienne wasn't just about looks and speed. It was designed for Canada's roads and drivers, giving it a unique identity. Even law enforcement in some provinces appreciated its reliability and solid build. The 1967 Pontiac Parisienne isn't just a car. It's a piece of Canadian history with undeniable style and muscle that left American buyers envious. If you're loving these rare Canadian muscle cars, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more fascinating stories about automotive legends you won't hear anywhere else. Number 10, 1960 Pontiac Parisienne. The 1960 Pontiac Parisienne is a true Canadian gem that Americans couldn't buy at the time. Designed to bring a touch of class and performance to Canadian roads, this car blended American style with unique features tailored specifically for the northern market. At first glance, the Parisienne looked like its American cousin, the Pontiac Catalina. But it wasn't just a copy. It rode on a shorter frame with Chevrolet underpinnings, making it distinct in both design and engineering. This full-size car had sleek lines, chrome accents, and a refined look that screamed luxury. Inside, the Parisienne offered premium features comparable to those of the Chevrolet Impala. Plush seating and stylish trim gave the cabin a high-end feel. While we don't have a peek at this particular model's interior, its reputation suggests comfort and elegance in every detail. Buyers had a choice of engines under the hood. The standard option was a 261 cubic inch inline-six producing 150 brake horsepower at 4,000 revolutions per minute. For those craving more power, there were two V8 options, a 283 cubic inch and a 348 cubic inch engine. The larger V8 could churn out up to 335 horsepower, making the Parisienne a capable performer despite its focus on style. In addition, with a length of 5,366 millimeters, the Parisienne had an imposing presence on the road. Its four-door design made it practical, but its rarity set it apart. Production numbers for the Parisienne rarely exceeded 60,000 units per year in the 60s, making it a sought-after collector's car today. This Canadian classic may not have crossed the border back in its heyday, but its unique blend of luxury and power makes it a standout piece of automotive history. If you see one, you're looking at a slice of Canadian muscle car pride. Number 9, 1967 Acadian Canso SD. The 1967 Acadian Canso SD isn't just a car, it's a symbol of Canadian automotive pride. Built by GM specifically for Canada, the Acadian is like the muscle car cousin you never knew you had, distinct yet oddly familiar. Neil Ciermacheski's restored Canso Sport Deluxe is a rare gem, with only 370 ever made. Restoring an Acadian isn't for the faint of heart. The unique trim, badges, and grille parts are practically extinct. Most people give up and transform theirs into a Chevy Nova, but not Neil. He embraced the Acadian's identity, keeping it true to its roots while adding a modern twist. Underneath, Neil's Canso has a tubular front suspension from total cost involved, air springs for a smooth ride, and a Curry 9-inch rear axle. It sits on sleek Boyd Coddington wheels, 18 inches up front and 20 in the back, wrapped in Goodyear tires. Stopping power comes from 11-inch disc brakes all around. Under the hood, a modern ramjet 350 cubic inch V8 with electronic fuel injection pumps out 279 horsepower. It's paired with a trusty TH350 automatic transmission, a placeholder for the 6-speed manual Neil dreams of. Inside, it's part Nova, part Acadian. Neil kept the original horn button and AM radio, but upgraded with modern tech like a Pioneer multimedia system and Ride-Tech air suspension controls. With its mix of Chevrolet bones, Pontiac-inspired grille, and Buick-esque trim, the Acadian Canso SD is a unique Canadian icon Americans could only envy. Number 8, 1954 Monarch Lucerne. So, the 1954 Monarch Lucerne is a rare gem in Canadian automotive history, built for a market Americans couldn't access. Think of it as a Canadian take on Mercury, blending luxury, unique style, and practicality, all with a twist that makes it stand out from its American siblings. The Monarch's design drew inspiration from fighter planes of World War II, particularly its signature Sun Valley glass canopy. This massive plexiglass roof was a showstopper, offering a panoramic view, unlike anything most cars of its time had. Made from the lucite developed by DuPont, or plexiglass created in Germany, this innovative material became a post-war design darling, symbolizing futuristic flair. Under the hood, the Monarch packed a 256 cubic inch V8 engine, producing 161 horsepower, paired with a 3-speed automatic transmission. While not the fastest muscle car by today's standards, it was all about combining performance with elegance. The Monarch's smooth ride was enhanced by power steering and brakes, luxuries not always common in the 1950s. On the outside, it shared some similarities with Mercury models, but distinctive touches set it apart. It came with fender skirts, a dealer-added Continental kit, and dual mirrors with integrated spotlights. The chrome trim, flowing lines, and signature grille made it unmistakably Canadian, a nod to its exclusive identity. Inside, the Monarch offered power windows, a rear wiper, and even an AM radio. Cutting-edge features back then. The glass top added a spacious, airy feel, perfect for enjoying scenic drives. With fewer than 100,000 miles on the odometer, this Monarch is a true survivor. Its Sun Valley roof is still in great shape, and the car remains an eye-catcher at shows or on the road. Whether as a driver or a restoration project, this 1954 Monarch Lucerne proves that Canada knew how to make muscle cars with a touch of luxury that Americans could only admire from afar. Number 7. 1971 Plymouth GTX. The 1971 Plymouth GTX was a muscle car that perfectly blended power, style, and a touch of luxury. While it wasn't exclusive to Canada, the GTX's Canadian market variations added a unique twist, making them stand out from their American counterparts. Plymouth introduced the GTX in 1967 as a performance-focused version of the Belvedere. By 1971, the car had evolved into a sleek, upscale, two-door hardtop coupe. It featured fuselage styling, a curvy body with a hidden cowl, raked windshield, and a distinctive loop-style front bumper. The deeply inset grille and headlights added to its bold look. These features made the GTX stand out, even among other Plymouth B-body models like the Roadrunner. Under the hood, the GTX was all about power. The standard engine was a 440 cubic inch Super Commando V8, delivering 375 horsepower at 4,300 revolutions per minute. Optional upgrades included the 446-pack, which upped the power to 385 horsepower, or the legendary 426 cubic inch Hemi V8, rated at 425 horsepower. These engines made the GTX a force to be reckoned with on the road. Inside, the GTX offered a premium experience with sports satellite trim and upscale details. Unique design elements like simulated hood scoops, racing stripes, and a center console tachometer emphasized its performance pedigree. A chrome pop-open fuel cap and dual exhaust tips completed the muscle car vibe. The GTX was more expensive than other models in the satellite range, at $3,730, making it a luxury performance vehicle in its day. Unfortunately, 1971 marked the end of the GTX's line as sales dwindled, with fewer than 3,000 units sold that year. In Canada, the GTX gained a reputation as a rare, high-performance muscle car with a touch of sophistication, something Americans couldn't always access. Its unique combination of luxury and muscle still makes it a collector's dream today. Number 6, 1970 Chevrolet Biscayne 427. The Chevrolet Biscayne was all about no-frills power. Produced from 1958 to 1975, it was Chevrolet's budget-friendly, full-size car, priced lower than models like the Bel Air, Impala, and Caprice. But don't let the entry-level label fool you. This car packs serious performance, especially in its Canadian variations. In Canada, the Biscayne's simple design became a canvas for muscle car enthusiasts. The 1969 Biscayne sedan, for instance, could be equipped with a massive 427 cubic inch turbojet V8 engine. With 390 horsepower and an impressive 460 foot-pounds of torque, this sleeper car was deceptively powerful. Its 4-speed manual transmission delivered a 0 to 60 miles per hour time of just 6.4 seconds. Underneath its plain exterior, it was a beast on the road. Despite this, the Biscayne's no-nonsense design stood out for what it didn't have. No flashy chrome trims or fancy interiors. Its clean, understated look made it a favorite for muscle car purists who cared more about performance than luxury. Even the interior kept things simple, offering practicality over plush finishes. By 1969, Chevrolet began tweaking the lineup, separating the station wagon models under the name of Brookwood. Meanwhile, power steering and brakes became standard features in 1970, adding a bit of comfort to the ride. In Canada, the Biscayne was celebrated as a working-class hero with muscle car potential. Affordable, unassuming, and incredibly powerful, it became a rare gem that muscle car fans south of the border could only dream of. Number 5, 1960 Plymouth Valiant. The Plymouth Valiant, first introduced in 1959, was a trailblazer in the compact car scene. Its Canadian variants stood out with their unique charm and practicality. While the Valiant eventually became part of the Plymouth lineup, it started as its brand, designed to challenge rivals like the Ford Falcon and Chevrolet Corvair. What made the Valiant special in Canada? Its bold, fuselage-inspired design. Unlike other cars, it had sleek, unbroken lines from the windows to the door edges, a distinct touch rooted in Chrysler's 1958 Imperial d'Elegance concept. Compact yet roomy, the Valiant balanced size and space perfectly. Despite riding on a wheelbase of just 106.5 inches, it stretched nearly 185 inches in length, offering more legroom than its competitors. Below the hood, the famous Slant 6 engine was a masterpiece of engineering. It tilted at a 30-degree angle, which lowered the hood height and made room for an efficient design. This six-cylinder engine started at 171 cubic inches and produced 100 horsepower, paired with a 3-speed manual transmission. The unitized body advanced for its time, and sound-deadening materials gave the Valiant a solid, premium feel. The V200 series had extra flair, featuring bright-side trims and colorful vinyl and cloth interiors. Even the base V100 models, with their simple gray interiors, offered good value. Canadians loved the versatility, with options like 6- or 9-passenger station wagons. In 1960 alone, Plymouth sold nearly 200,000 Valiants, showcasing their appeal as stylish, practical, and well-built vehicles. The Canadian versions embodied smart design and unique engineering, making them another gem that American buyers could only envy. Number 4, 1970 Dodge Monaco. The Dodge Monaco, first introduced in 1965, was a standout in the world of muscle cars, especially for Canadian buyers. This full-size sedan was built for luxury and performance, combining bold design with powerful specs that made it unique compared to other muscle cars at the time. Inside, the Monaco was equipped with a 384 cubic inch V8 engine that delivered 290 horsepower at 4,400 RPM and 390 pound-feet of torque at 2,800 RPM. The engine was naturally aspirated and featured a 2-barrel carburetor. Paired with a 3-speed manual transmission, this engine gave Monaco impressive power for its size. The rear-wheel drive layout and smooth handling made it a joy on the road. For 1970, the Monaco got a fresh new look with updated front and rear styling. The designers added a unique, loop-type bumper in both the front and rear, giving the car a sleek, modern appearance. The front bumper surrounded the new die-cast grille and headlights, while the rear bumper enclosed the taillights. They even shortened the rear by 4 inches, making the car look longer and leaner up front. The attention to detail continued with upgraded suspension components, called the Torsion Quiet System, which helped reduce road noise and vibrations. Inside, the Monaco offered luxury features, with options like the Brougham and 500 trim packages. In terms of performance, the 440 Magnum V8 engine, once the top choice, was replaced by a 350 horsepower 440 engine, now available across all Monaco models, not just wagons. Despite all these improvements, Monaco faced declining sales, with only the 24,692 units produced in 1970. Still, its design and features made it a Canadian muscle car that Americans couldn't easily obtain. Number 3, 1961 Chevrolet Impala SS. The Chevrolet Impala made its debut in 1958 and quickly became known for its distinctive triple-tail lights. By 1965, Chevrolet introduced the Caprice as a top-level trim of the Impala, but it became its separate model in 1966. While the Impala was Chevrolet's most popular full-size car, it was also a muscle car at heart, especially with the introduction of the 1961 Impala SS 409. The 1961 Impala Supersport package, available for just $53.80, transformed the car into a performance machine. It included special trim, stronger springs and shocks, power brakes, and a tachometer on the steering column borrowed from the Corvette. The real star, though, was the engine. Chevy offered a choice of V8s, with the most powerful being the 409 cubic inch engine. This engine was a beefed-up version of the 348, featuring aluminum pistons and a higher compression ratio. It made 360 horsepower and 409 pound-feet of torque, which allowed the Impala to hit mid-15-second quarter-mile times with its standard setup. Despite the fact that only 453 Impalas were equipped with the SS package in 1961, and just 142 had the 409 engine, word spread quickly. The Beach Boys even sang about it, immortalizing the Impala SS 409 in pop culture. By the time production ended in 1965, the 409 engine had been tuned to produce up to 425 horsepower. Still, its design, based on a late 1950s truck engine, was eventually outpaced by newer, more modern engines. The 409 engine went into just 43,775 cars, but its impact on muscle cars is undeniable. The Impala SS 409 is one of those rare Canadian muscle cars that Americans could only dream of owning. Number 2, 1993 Chevrolet Camaro Z28. The fourth-generation Chevrolet Camaro, produced between 1993 and 2002, was a standout muscle car that caught the attention of many, especially for its value and performance. Available as a coupe or convertible, the Camaro continued the classic formula with rear-wheel drive and a choice of engines, including a 6-cylinder and a powerful V8. In 1998, it got a refreshed design and engine upgrades, but production eventually slowed, leading to its discontinuation. Also, the 1993 Camaro Z28, priced under $20,000, was especially impressive. Competing with much more expensive cars like the Nissan 300ZX and the Dodge Stealth RT Twin-Turbo, the Z28 offered performance that could rival them at a fraction of the price. It came with a 348 cubic inch V8 engine, producing 275 horsepower. Although it was based on the Corvette's engine, the Camaro's sloped hood meant a redesign for the intake system, slightly lowering horsepower from the Corvette's 300. Still, the Camaro Z28 was fast, accelerating from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 6.5 seconds. It could handle well too, thanks to its upgraded suspension and new power rack and pinion steering. The ride was smoother than older models, but it didn't sacrifice handling. It also had the 4-wheel disc anti-lock brakes for added control. Inside, the Camaro was built to impress with a deep dash, well-arranged switches, and comfortable cloth-covered bucket seats. The rear seats were tight, offering limited space for adults. Despite some quirks, like the orange gauge numbers, the fit and finish were top-notch. This Camaro Z28 was a Canadian muscle car that offered excellent performance and style, without the hefty price tag American buyers were used to. Number 1, 1960 Ford Frontenac. In 1960, Ford Canada introduced the Frontenac, a unique car designed to give Mercury Meteor dealers a compact vehicle to sell. It was a separate brand, just like Lincoln is to Ford in the US. The Frontenac was a Canadian version of the 1960 Ford Falcon, but with its special touches, it stood out from its American counterparts. It was only produced for 1 year, but it became quite popular in Canada, accounting for 5% of Ford's total Canadian sales in 1960. Furthermore, the Frontenac had a distinctive look. It featured a grille with 2 sections and many vertical bars, all pointing toward the center. At the center of the grille was a chrome disc with a red maple leaf, giving the car a very Canadian feel. The car also had a chrome dart on the fender, again with a red maple leaf. The tail lights were a unique variation of the Falcon's, using a small red lens. But when lit, they appeared just as large as the original. The Frontenac was available in 2-door and 4-door sedan versions, with station wagons added later. It was powered by a 144 cubic inch, 90 horsepower 6-cylinder engine, the same as the Falcon, and came with either a 3-speed manual or a 2-speed automatic transmission. While it shared the Falcon's mechanical setup, the Frontenac had its distinct styling. including special chrome accents and a unique rear design with 3 chrome wind splits on the fender. Even though it was a big hit in Canada, with over 8,000 sold in 1961, the Frontenac was discontinued after just 1 year. In 1961, Mercury dealers in Canada started selling the Comet, replacing the Frontenac, which had never been available in the US. Which of these classic Canadian muscle cars would you add to your dream garage? Share your thoughts with us in the comments.